Nearly half of email recipients decide whether to open an email based solely on the subject line. And only 20% of people will make it further than your headline or your subject line. But you can increase the odds in your favor with a little creativity and a few AI hacks and special prompts to help you fine-tune and nail a scroll-stopping, engaging one. You're listening to the High Conversion Health Marketer Podcast, the show that helps you craft memorable copy and messaging that connects, captivates, and converts. My name is Linda Melone, and my mission is to help you, the health and fitness marketer, attract your ideal customer with copy they can't resist so you can grow your business. So today I'm going to share with you the AI-powered headline hacks that can also be used as subject lines that you've never heard before. Creative, under-the-radar strategies you're not going to hear on every marketing blog. So before I get into the topic, I just have a short backstory about why I became obsessed with headlines. A few years ago, I participated in a headline writing contest in a copywriting coaching group. We were given a topic, information on the intended audience, and a few details about the product or service. We then submitted our entries anonymously, and the group voted for the ones that they liked best. My headlines won 2 out of the 5 categories. Does this mean that they would convert like crazy in the real world? Who knows? I mean, only testing them would tell for sure, but their appeal would most likely stop the scroll. And I'll link in the show notes to a blog post with details on that contest if you'd like to know more. So before I get into specific AI methods of crafting these ingenious headlines, let's start with a few basic how-tos for writing an engaging headline and what really works. And so real quickly, don't forget about the impact of numbers. Headlines containing numbers are 36% more likely to generate clicks. In fact, using numbers can increase click-through rates as much as 200%. And keep in mind the optimal length of a headline. Ideally, you want to stick with 6 to 13 words. There are exceptions, of course, but these are the length of the headlines that seem to attract the most consistent amount of clicks and traffic. And also consider question-based headlines. Incorporating questions into headlines can increase website traffic by up to 400. That is huge, right? So now let's get into these AI hacks. I'm calling them hacks. They're really prompts that you can use. Number 1, we call this headline Mad Libs. Whether you're familiar with Mad Libs or not, it's basically giving AI a fill-in-the-blank formula. And the examples I'm going to give are ones I have actually created by using each of the formulas I'm going to be talking about. So you want to give the prompt how to, and then put a goal, without, and then put a common pain point, and then ask AI to make it more interesting. So here's the example that I use. I input, okay, if I wanted to say how to write better copy without spending a fortune on courses, prompted AI to come up with something better. And it said how to write scroll-stopping copy without shelling out for pricey courses. Not vastly different, but it could just be enough to make people more interested. And as with all of these, it really depends on, you have to test all of these. But you let AI fill in the blanks, so to speak, and bam, you've got more of a relatable headline. Number 2, ask AI to write in a specific brand voice. So ask it to write a headline as if it's a specific person or brand. And this, you can go wild with this. So I thought about what is the one brand that really has a distinct voice. And I came up with Skittles. If you've ever seen the social media post by Skittles, the brand, they're pretty funny. And so I said, write the same headline in the voice of the Skittles snarky brand voice. And it said how to write juicy rainbow tasting copy without turning your wallet into sad toast crumbs. I don't know if it's something I'd actually use, but it gives you a fresh perspective. And of course, you could ask it the same question and have it come up with a bunch of different versions as well, and then choose and maybe even combine some of the responses that you get. Number 3, flip it upside down. Take a generic headline, ask AI to make it shocking, controversial, or contrarian. So I said, okay, what would you do to write something contrarian to 5 exercises for toned arms. And AI came back with why arm workouts are overrated and what you should be doing instead. So it's controversial, sparks curiosity, right? It's human nature. We want to know, what is that? Number 4, focus on emotional triggers. So ask AI to make your headline evoke a specific emotion. I asked it to include urgency, surprise, or nostalgia to the headline that I just talked about. And so it said, let's use urgency. Stop doing these 5 exercises if you want toned arms. Here's what works instead. So it has an emotional hook. Stop doing these 5 exercises, do this instead. Number 5, target different personas. So have AI write for various audience segments. So I said, okay, take this recent headline that I just had you do and write it for a boomer audience and then write it for a Gen X audience. And you can do this with any audience, obviously. And so it came up with boomer audience, the 5 arm exercises that actually work, and it had in parentheses, unlike what we tried in the 70s. Okay, it's not too bad. I mean, you can work with that. Or I said, what about for Gen X? 5 arm exercises that work better than that Jane Fonda VHS you still have. It's kind of funny, and I like that. So the more targeted, the more effective. You want it to be relatable. Number 6 is to steal fictional inspiration. So think about, ask AI to channel a fictional character. So I thought about The Matrix. It took me a little while to come up with something. You can use anything, but I said, how would Neo from The Matrix write a fitness headline? And it came up with, what if I told you these 5 moves will unlock the strongest version of you? You can almost picture Keanu Reeves saying that, right? So it's a creative way to add personality. So what if I told you these 5 moves will unlock the strongest version of you? It's probably something he might say. 7 is to ask it to create a micro story. So the prompt that I used, write a 1-sentence story to hook readers into, and I said, reading a workout blog. You want them to read the blog. And so it came up with, she couldn't even lift her carry-on bag last year, and now she's out benching her boyfriend with these 5 exercises. Again, it's a curiosity hook. Number 8, try a dramatic approach. And the prompt was, write a shocking headline about ignoring your health. That's what I asked AI. And it came up with, ignoring your health? Here's why that's like cutting the red wire in a ticking time bomb. All right, is drama, is it really good? I don't know. Again, you can ask it to do a bunch of them, but you get the idea. Here's why it's like cutting the red wire in a ticking time bomb. And then number 9, gamify your headline. And so I asked AI to write this headline as a riddle or a quiz. And it said, what's stronger than steel? Always with you and often ignored. Hint, you're using it right now. And so the answer is actually your body. It's interactive, adds curiosity. And so it's just making it kind of compelling with a question and almost like a quiz. And lastly, number 10, I asked AI, which of the headlines that I just had you create would you click on? And if not, why? And so AI said, the one I'd most likely click is stop doing these 5 exercises if you want toned arms. Here's what works instead. And AI says it creates urgency by making it feel like I might be wasting my time or even sabotaging myself with my current routine. Nobody wants to find out that they've been doing it all wrong. So the curiosity it sparks is irresistible, because sometimes AI is better at spotting what's bland or confusing than we are. So there you have it, 10 creative ways to use AI to craft headlines that stand out, spark curiosity, and get clicks. So the key takeaway here is AI isn't replacing your creativity, it's amplifying it. So I'll list all these in the show notes if you'd like to refer to them. So be sure to play around, experiment, and don't be afraid to ask your AI assistant weird or quirky prompts. That's where the best headlines emerge. And sometimes it's not exactly what they tell you, but it can just be enough to spark your own idea that comes up with something really good. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review and share it with a fellow marketer. And if you do try any of these tips, please let me know how they work for you. I'd love to hear your success stories. See you next week.